This is the Lord of Sin, coming to you from Sin's Arcade. Thank you guys for joining me. I know I've been gone for a while. I've had a lot of things going on, and I've been dealing with them. And I know that if I didn't actually get this video done, I would never see it. It would just never come about. So that's why I'm actually doing it today. You guys may have seen this game. You know, I've tried to start this video a couple of times, and just to no avail, no luck. So you found this game on the platform network of your choice, and maybe that was one of the proper smartphone marketplaces or legitimate ones, Google Play, or even the iOS store, the Apple Store, or even on Steam. And maybe you purchased it because it was part of a summer deal, or just because it was on discount, which it's currently on all of these right now. This game, and you're wondering yourself, what is that? Now, if you're a PC player, you're probably a little bit more familiar with the 4X style of games, but essentially, for those who are not familiar with it, it is a galactic civilization, interactive galactic civilization simulation. I know that sounds really crazy to do, but it's a turn-based strategy game, so you're not going to find anything twitchy here. There's nothing like that whatsoever that comes about from anything twitchy. There's nothing that's fast per se that you're going to have to worry about. It gives you the opportunity to think ahead and plan, almost like a chess game, or similar to kind of more like Go in the way that it kind of just expands. Perhaps, and that's how deep the gameplay is. But let's go ahead and we're going to play a new game, and I want to show you some information. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to leave it here. This shows me, oh, you know what, let's go ahead and rename this as Sin's Primer, just because we're not going to play as this one. But what I was thinking about doing was doing a Let's Play on this game as well, and the reason for that is because I cannot currently play another game that I'd like to actually show you, but it's related to this game, as well as the other gameplays that I've had on my channel before. Let's go ahead and do the tutorial level, and in fact we're going to do it on normal difficulty with the syndicates. We're going to leave it just like this, exactly like this, and this is just a primer. This is actually the same one we're going to actually play too. 4x, you know what, I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay. Excuse me, just one moment, I have a cough. Pardon me. The worlds of the galactic core burn, torn apart by war and old hatreds. By the billions, the Star Traders flee in the Great Exodus, hoping to find a new home among the distant stars. Protected by the venerable Templar Knights, the bulk of the Great Fleet reaches the far-fallen rim after a century of travel. But millions were lost, left behind, splintered from the main fleet, or unable to keep pace. For these Star Traders, the Great Exodus must end here in this cold and hostile space. The factions will look to you for leadership, but have not forgotten their ancient rivalries. You must risk everything to protect these ragtag survivors and carve out a new galactic empire. Without the defenses of the Templar fleet, it's only a matter of time before the Xeno attack. Water fuel is a critical resource, and many independent captains are licensed by factions for it. Okay, so, Templar, we've all known that this day would come for a long time now. As your ambassador to the faction leadership, I bring their request. Honored Templar, it is time. You know it as well as they do. The Great Exodus has ended. Our people and these aging colony hives can go no farther. As we've agreed, our navigators have brought us a suitable cluster of solar systems from habitable worlds. Brought us near, a suitable cluster of solar systems with habitable worlds. So this is where we're currently sitting at. Each of the factions must colonize their own system. The factions will be hard enough to control. We must must be careful to maintain the balance. Colonize a system is a seminal event and will end your turn, so be sure to complete any other orders before colonizing a new system. To move to one of your 3 colony ships, select it by clicking on it. Then double-click the ship's destination. The first click sets a destination and the second confirms. If you give an order beyond your ship's reach, the ship will keep moving on the next turn. The factionites are eager for the founding. Too many generations have passed within these creaking hulls. Now select a colony hive and navigate it to one of the nearby stars. Excuse me. Now, if you'll notice, we are in a colony hive. This one specifically is for the Volto Syndicate, which you'll learn about here shortly. But we are almost out. The hull is almost breached completely, and the water fuel is almost depleted completely as well. That's just from centuries of basically using the very little energy to get about as they were fleeing from their home system. There's not a whole lot of information that survived the great event that led to the exodus for them getting out of there, but these are the only people who were able to survive our original home system. So you build a colony or an empire out of these refugees. And let's go through here. This is Kadar Syndicate, and you can flip through them by using the next key over here. Okay, so the thing that you want to really understand about this, though, and you always want to start with the Galarian Gate. If you notice, if I hover over it, this is the Steam version that I'm currently playing now. If you tap on it inside of the mobile version, then you will also pull up this screen as well, and this will give you information about that you need to know about the system details. It's randomly generated once you actually colonize it, and you can get, you can get benefits out of the system if you kind of pay attention to the range that you're looking at right here, and then colonize with the best possible family. And that's what I want you to think about, is that these different colonies are just that. The Kadar Syndicate, can I go between the two? There we go. So the Kadar Syndicate, oh, this is the Templar Defender, my bad, I apologize. Let's go here. So you have the Syndicate Reichart, Kadar Syndicate, and Devalto Syndicate. These are all 3 of the syndicates that actually went. You have to think of them much like the different houses that you find in Dune. The different factions. Okay, that's basically what they are. They are families that have been, gone through different generations, and they, and associated factions that have kind of built up from those, and that's what these people are. They kind of they're really prejudiced. They have their own certain different cultures, most certainly, and because of that, they have different bonuses as well to them. So, for example, if we actually go in here, and I want you to know this really quickly, you always have access to this. If you go to the library, you can actually filter here. This is the filter. So filter them down by different, by item, and this gives you different stuff. You can grab with mobile. You can tap and then drag, or even on mouse. You can do the same thing, or you can just scroll up and down with the scroll wheel. Now, oops, I think I went to the wrong button. Yes, I did, kind of. Alright, so this gives you, you can open up on any of these, and it'll give you additional information. And I'll probably end up pulling these up so you guys can see them as well as we go through the game. But if we go to, is it over here? Oops, wrong one. We'll go to our advisors, there it is. We have no colonies, we have to land high ships, I understand. They go to factions. These gives you these detailed little summaries give you a little bit more information as to the types of cultures that these families and factions have. So you have Devaltos, one of the most powerful syndicates. The Devaltos leadership greatly values wealth and uses expertise in manufacturing and finance to acquire it. Devaltos colonies generate 3 trade points and earn 3 additional credits per trade point. The Kadar Syndicate is by far the most powerful syndicate in military terms. The Kadar Syndicate, or leadership, puts immense value on the strength and endurance of their colonies. They often oppose the Devaltos Syndicate and gain a +2 construction point bonus for all of their colonies. And Syndicate Reichart, known as the most universally political syndicate, the Reichart group attempts to keep the peace while still coming out on top. Reichart is best known for using spycraft and gains a +2 reputation points research points, +2 research points and +2 espionage bonus for each of their colonies. So that's when you're using these, you want to spread them out and these are the different ways that you affect the overall arching empire that you build is based on construction, trade points. Credits are obviously how you buy into the system or not, on the value system. And then obviously you have research points, because research opens up new technologies and new ways for expansion and innovation in an iterative sense. So it continues to grow out. I'll show you the research web here momentarily. It's a research tree, but it's a pretty large web. And then obviously you have espionage bonuses, which these are all 3 different families. When have you ever known 3 families of people? Let's just put it that way. Think of it that way. 3 different ideologies, 3 different cultures of people to get along. They have to sometimes, just for the benefit of some human or civil rights, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to have their own play that goes about. These are different types of government, I guess, is the best way to kind of look at it. If you want to think about it from a 4X or civilization simulation type of game that, I'm sure you're probably familiar with on those. That's what this is going to be. Granted, this is going to be a long video. I apologize for it, but I wanted to go a little bit more in depth so that people had a better understanding of what type of game that this is. You are using 3 different families associated, and then even independent. So basically 4 different splinter factions to build an empire out of, and they're going to squabble. There's going to be infighting between them. There's going to be trade embargoes. It's a lot of things that are part and parcel logistically to empires overall. Any empire that's worth its salt that sticks around is because it folds people into it on their own. And you're going to have people who may eventually go from one to the other. You're going to have wars that happen between the two, between 2 or even between all 3. Hopefully we never see that in our gameplay, but it can indeed happen. Okay, so again, basically easiest way I can describe it, the quickest way possible, and it may or may not be a disservice, or obviously I feel it was more of kind of an intentional inspiration, is again Dune. You're looking at 3 different families that are each carving out their own specific type of empire, but a conjoined empire, as you all have one enemy, typically, which is extermination via hostile just world, the universe itself, or the only other xenomorphic entity that we've that they've been able to find thus far, and those are the Xeno. And the Xeno are a lot like the conceptualization of aliens, the xenomorphs from there, or even the bugs from the Robert Heinlein, books like the Starship Troopers. Or even similar to possibly even the Zerg. There's a lot of inspiration there to be taken. Okay, so really quick, let's look at it. This is Kadar, and Kadar works with construction. Let's go back and just look at that really fast. Oh, this is the research web, the technology tree. Now you have one for engineering, you have one for construction, you have one for each of the different factions. You have a couple of different trees, in fact. These are different factions themselves, and it goes considerably out. It's a very large tree. Very, very large tree. I hope this gets represented. I'm going to go slower so that it can record well. And then it jumps in. There's a lot of technologies here at our disposal. I can click on any one. For example, this one. Let me zoom in just so we're on the same page. This one is Starship Construction 1. This would give us one ship type, one new reactor, one armor, and 2 different types of training. Cost 50 research points, and at this point, because we generate no research points, it would take us about 50 turns. We're going to generate research points through our colonization. That's why each of the factions have their own specific benefits and benefits, pros and cons to each portion of the overall empire itself. Okay, so this is Kadar, and let's go ahead and have them come here. Sorry about that. You must steward the factions and guide their newly founded systems to prosperity. They will squabble, but you must be their level-headed leader. To colonize a world, click on the Colonize order on the right side of your screen, or use the hotkey Z to activate your first order. The rangefinder will appear. Click on any system within your range to complete the order. And just so that we're on the same page, so that to better explain that and highlight that, this is the planet we just flew to, and we would click that, and then we would click this again to colonize, or even just click the planet. You can do either one. They're kind of contextual in that. We're not going to do that just yet because I also have defense force. We have two Templar defenders. One is going to go here to guard this planet because these are really close to each other. This one here is going to go, this cruiser is going to go here. This is our explorer. If you'll notice, we have 2 different anomalies. One here and one here within our field of view, along with another red dwarf over here. This yellow sun, midlife suns, I guess you could say stars, midlife stars, mid-size. Okay. This one can go here. I know this is probably the default way that people do it, but it doesn't matter to me, it's fine. Alright, so there. Now we have all of our colony hives locked into place. Now we're going to jump around until we get to our explorer, and we're going to go to this one first. And they're going to take next turn and they're going to explore this, but that's going to give us enough time because we're going to actually do one of these. Let's go ahead and get, oops, whoa, sorry about that. I moved the window. Alright, so that's to Altos. Oh, go back, what happened? Sorry about that. No, go back. I apologize. It's the designer, I'll show that off later on. There we go. Alright, so we want, obviously, the Kadar is probably going to be the first one we're going to want, because in the long run, Devaltos is, even though they come up with the most money, we don't need that technically. We don't need the trade points per se right now. We need Kadar out there more than anything else. And then Syndicate Reichard, we do need the research points. Not necessarily the espionage yet, but we need the research. So, this is, we're looking for Kadar. Right, this one, right? I believe. Yes. We're going to colonize, and this gives us, again, we're looking at a range between 7 and 25 in the quality allows us the number of units that we can build in the system, and in this system we'll be able to build anywhere between 7 to 25 different units. And what I mean by those are buildings or complexes or something along those lines, some type of quality that we're adding to the system itself via construction. And that can be everywhere from habitation units to factories to keep those people who are living there, because the people who are on your planets are not they are not born there. They are refugees, because now that once we settle, we're going to have other people who are going to come through the space warp and find us. We'll set down beacons, basically. And then minerals is different types of minerals that are available in the game. this system, pardon me, will offer anywhere between 6 to 24 different types of minerals that, if we have mines, which help us generate our economy and help us generate credits, we can use to sell off and use for trade purposes, for profiteering. That's what star traders do. Some of them are merchants that go from system to system, dropping or picking up and dropping off, just like long haul truckers, and it's just logistics. Alright, so here we go. Colonize. That automatically ends your turn. Anytime you colonize, set up a new colony, it ends your turn. At the beginning of each turn, you'll be able to review the turn events and take action to manage your growing empire. Clicking on any of the turn events will jump you to that target. We have now founded the first of our new colonies. Having claimed a new home, we have raised a stellar beacon to call to other nearby faction ships. New arrivals are appearing every day, and our new colonies will grow quickly. To house this influx of population, we will need HAB units, or habitation units. If we are unable to provide adequate housing for our people, morale will suffer. To select a colony, click on it on the map or click on a related turn event. To start construction of a new colony upgrade, click on the new upgrade command, or you can use the quick key and the quick bar, and I'll show you that momentarily. You can use the new upgrade command anytime you want to install a permanent structure, such as a HAB unit, mine, or military installation. Each new upgrade has a build cost. Starting an upgrade project requires credits as an initial investment, which will then be deducted from the Empire's treasury. In addition, to complete such a massive project, each upgrade requires a number of construction points. Your colony generates a number of construction per turn, which are dedicated towards the active project. Each turn, your active project will gain this many new construction points until it gains its build cost and is completed. If a colony is not working on an active project, these construction points are turned towards towards the economy, and generate additional income. Let me reread that. If a colony is not working on an active project, these CP are turned towards the economy and generate additional income. The first order of business is to build a HAB unit on your new world. Because our treasury has a good buffer in it, you should subsidize the HAB unit. Subsidizing a new project costs twice the upfront investment in credits, but allows it to get finished faster. However, the new project starts with 30% of its construction point requirement already completed. By sinking credit investment into a system's projects, you can greatly increase its build pace. To help move your colony forward, subsidize the new HAB unit. When you finish giving orders to your new colony, to your first colony, choose which faction will be the second to colonize a new homeworld. Can't even talk today. So now this is our turn events. This is 1.2 years, 1 year, 2 months, or 2 weeks, 1 year, 2 weeks after the event, which the event was the founding. This is founding this new galactic cluster, this new area that had habitable planets. That is the event, is finding habitable planets close by, or habitable cluster, or habitable solar systems close by. And I say relatively close by in a cosmological sense, clearly. Okay, so 1 year, in 2 weeks after the event, the colony hive was established on the new colony of Kadar Prime. Okay, we have a quality of 25, which means we have 25 total buildings or different types of upgrades, which right now we only have access to our HAB unit and our mine as building options. Those will grow as we find and research new technologies and different aspects of our cultures, okay, of the Kadar culture itself. We also have a shipyard, which that is what we currently have right now in orbit. If you look at our upgrades, we have a prime starport for Kadar Prime. This is Kadar Prime starport itself, generates 2 construction houses 3 population of people in a unit as a unit, exploits 1 material on the planet or in this system, entertains 5 population total out of it, even though it only houses 3, and provides 1 research point per turn. It does have a maintenance of 15 credits per turn out of our treasury. Okay, that's what the 1 unit out of this. So we have 52 credits. Right now we're currently utilizing 12, or sorry, it's worth 52. You know what, I'm honestly not sure how I'm going to explain this. I'll come back to this one. Sorry about that. Should have been a little bit more prepared. Like I said, I had a script set up, but it's easier to do it in situ to explain it to you guys. This is running 25 minutes, so we're already at the 25-minute mark. I do apologize, but again, as I mentioned, this is going to be a longer video. I wanted you guys to understand it, though, the game, so that as a primer, so that you have a good feeling of how this game works, so that you can find out if you'll enjoy it. It is a little bit of micromanagement, but you're setting the course of different families and trying to mishmash them. It's kind of like Game of Thrones in space. It's actually not a bad analogy. I was thinking about that earlier too. Okay, so Kadar Prime, and they said build a hab unit. Now, I'm going to do that. However, I want you to see the quick build bar down here. As you unlock different technologies or have different upgrades available, instead of going here, you can always do this if you want. This tells you about the roughly number of turns, roughly, that it'll take for you to build this based on the current situation. Right now, you generate 4 construction points. This builds for 10 construction points, which if you do it, obviously 4 goes into 10 to, what, 2.3 times roughly? So that's why it's saying roughly about 3 turns. Okay? No trade points. This does give us 2 research points, 1 espionage point. And then again, this exploits 1 mineral, this houses 1 population. It said to build this, so this is what we're going to build. Okay? And remember, it said to build or buy or subsidize. If you go over here and you do this down here, this automatically subsidizes it, I believe. Notice we jump from 1244 in our treasury to 644, or half. It cost us 600. Well, if we go back over here, we'll notice that it did indeed subsidize it. So now we're a third of the way complete towards construction. Out of the 50, we're going to cancel that one because I hit the wrong button. We're going to cancel that, and it's not going to give us back our money. No. Well, lesson learned. We lost 300 credits from doing that. We're supposed to click on Hab Unit. But we now know that that will obviously do that. So now we're at a kind of deficit there. We're down to 744. Maybe it'll fix itself back. 644. We're actually, yeah, we're still up by 100. It's alright. So, there's that. So now we're building that. But it does subsidize if you use the quick bar. Now the next ones we want are going to be... We want Devaltos last. So sorry about that, Devaltos. Alright. Colony Hive for Syndicate Reichert. Because they are the research peeps. Alright. Oh, sorry. You can always scan too, but it's not really worth it. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? We're going to cancel this. We're going to do our auto move. This of the Explorer. If this is to be our new home, we must gain what we can from our surroundings. Relying on the courage and skills of our explorers, we may be able to gain knowledge from astronomical anomalies in nearby space. With luck, these anomalies may help us boost our treasury, accelerate technological discoveries, or uncover signs of activity of other life forms. It is best to explore anomalies only when you have a few colonies already founded, as some of the bonuses can only be applied to a nearby colony. There are 2 anomalies in the near vicinity. This one and then this one. Here and here. Select your explorer ship and navigate to a nearby anomaly, which is what we've done. Once your explorer is adjacent, click on the explorer order or use the hotkey C to activate your third order. When the rangefinder appears, click on the nearby anomaly. Now select your explorer ship and navigate it to a nearby anomaly. The results of the exploration mission will be determined when you choose to end the turn. Okay, we're not going to do that right now though, because it says it's honestly better, and it is, for us to colonize first before we explore. So we're going to colonize here. So now Syndicate Rye chart, and we're going to build a hab unit on there. As new colonies are founded, they will provide safe sectors for repair and refueling in nearby space. Ships who are not on an active mission should be moved into one of the green sectors to refuel and repair. The maintenance cost of a ship is lowest when it is fully repaired, refueled, and in a green sector. Remember that, the maintenance cost, because as it's always out there, there's an always ongoing maintenance cost to keep it going. There's radiation out in space, there's everything else. You've got to maintain food. There has to be water fuel that they have so that they can have some type of fuel to get around. Either way, the bottom line is there's a maintenance cost associated to every ship and every building, and the maintenance cost for ships are always lowest when it is always fully repaired, fully refueled, and in one of the green sectors around the planet. If you look slightly beyond this tooltip window, you'll notice that we have one of our Templar carriers here behind us, the planet we just colonized with Syndicate Rye chart. And if you'll notice that there's two here, two here, two here, and two here. Well, this is supposed to be, it's here, sorry. Or either way, here, that are green, and then obviously in kind of a halo radius out. There's an unfolding out. That's the field around it. That's the maintenance cost the green field is talking about. Move our 2 Templar defenders into the green sectors near your colonies. Be sure to subsidize the construction of a new hab unit on your second colony. When you're finished giving all of your orders for the turn, colonize the 3rd faction homeworld. So now we have Rychard Prime has its, and we're going to grab the colony, or the hab unit here, and we're going to go back. Now, incidentally, by the way, we're just on the screen. If we want to flip between Rychard Prime and Kadar Prime, which are our 2 current quadrants. Yeah, either way, bottom line, it's their system. 2 different systems, colony systems, 2 different planets, I guess. Good way to think about it. So different planets, or systems within those. So in these 2 systems themselves, you can flip between them. I don't even know what I'm trying to talk about now. Confusing, I'm sorry. So now we're going to wait on this explorer until the next turn. Already have, if you remember correctly, we earlier moved the 2 Templar Defender carriers into orbit, in this green orbit around the different planets we were going to habitate anyway, or colonize. So I'm going to end the turn and I'm going to cough. I'll be right back. The factions of the Star Traders are a diverse and fractured group. The Templar Order must provide a steady hand of leadership. There are times when our ability to remain patient is our most critical skill. If there are no turn events or other required actions, move your Empire's development forward by using the End Turn button. Sometimes you will advance multiple turns fairly quickly, because there aren't any events that come about. But that doesn't mean that you should do that, honestly. I just want to state really fast. Sometimes you're making minute changes that are going to affect broadly how other things come down. I mean, that's just like how our reality is. Every interaction changes the system just a tiny bit. It gives a feedback loop into the system, which therefore fundamentally changes the system just a slight variable. So same basic thing here. You want to make sure that you're paying attention so that you can kind of monitor, and I'll show you what I mean as we're going through and playing, monitor the different systems to see if they're as optimal as you want them to be. If you are looking for colonies that need orders, access the colonies list, which looks like the kind of a shady or profile of a planet, right? It's an icon of a planet that's kind of half covered by darkness that you can only just see in this portion of it because it's the only portion lit by sun. Anyway, so you have the profile view, kind of waxing kind of crescent of the planet. If you're looking for colonies that need orders, access the colonies list from the main HUD or heads-up display. From the colonies list, you can see all of your colony's summaries, including the morale, population, and housing. These are the different conditions that the colonies list work with. Within the colonies list, you can quickly find colonies that may need new orders by using the idle colonies filter, and that's where you have all the different filters usually up at the top. The unhappy face or frowny face is the low morale filter, and then the kind of stopwatch or clock is the idle colonies filter, meaning that they're just kind of looking at their watch waiting for something to do. Click the colonies list now to be sure that all 3 of your colonies have active projects. As the first colony projects begin to complete, you will be called upon to decide what to build next. Each of our fledgling colonies will need many upgrades as it grows. There is little time to let them sit idle. We will need to complete both of the needs of the individual colonies and the empire as a whole as we choose our build strategy. And it's going to be different each time that you play through, depending upon the other variables that are in there too. We chose the tutorial map, and we chose one, standard difficulty, normal difficulty, one enemy. So I mean, obviously, it's going to be variant on that. And the choices we make have permutations that pull all the way through. That's why every decision you make in this game has effects that you'll get feedback on eventually at one time or another. First, we must be wary of anything that threatens colony morale. If morale drops, then maintenance costs will rise and the profitability of the colony will plummet. The feedback loop. Also, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Potentially, even if it's small variables. Overpopulation is the first threat to morale. We must be sure to provide the HAB units our growing colonies need. Watch for turn events warning of colonies reaching their housing limits, and be sure to add additional HABs. Again, these people are not being born, they're refugees coming in from our older home system or that are floating out. Now that we have the beacons down, they are flying out to those beacons and starting lives of their own. Second, we need to ensure a strong economic backbone for our empire. A strong mining core will help provide this economic strength. Mines utilize the materials of the colony's system. As long as your mining is less than the system's minerals, you can eke out more profit. Again, as I mentioned before, minerals or mining is very partial to getting those minerals exploited and get them out into the system for trade, so they can indeed be exploited and used by other colonies. Supply and demand, that's part of economics itself, is all built on value systems based off of different commodities. Those are the commodities, the minerals that you're pulling up are those commodities. Morale is how happy people are on the way of life. Mines produce a constant revenue, and their profits are resistant to the effects of conflicts and negative politics. So again, mines produce a constant revenue, and their profits are resistant, meaning that they do not fluctuate in their profits, but their pricing does, if that makes any sense. Their profits don't, but the pricing does. But so they're resistant to the effects of outside conflicts and negative politics. Conflicts being anything external or between two people, or PvP, easy for me to say. PvP, or player versus player, in this case faction versus faction, house versus house, syndicate versus syndicate, and then of course the negative politics that go about this. Now, this is a macular level game compared to its other sister games in the same universe. And I'm speaking, of course, of the Star Traders RPG and Star Traders RPG Elite games, which the second one is coming out very soon. I am part of the alpha on, and my goodness, I am so excited to show you guys because it's very dynamic. It's always different. It's very, very dynamic. It is crazy fun. Anyway, the other games in this series are obviously this one, Star Traders 4X Empires, and then you have the Templar Assault and Templar Battle Force games that are also in this same series, and those each have their Templar Assault and Templar Assault Elite, if I remember correctly, and then Templar Battle Force is its own full 100% game. Last I checked, for the United States or Region 1 goes for $9.99 on Steam. It is right now, if I remember correctly, part of the Steam Summer Sale for 2017, and I believe it's fractionally reduced by 50%. I know that the Android and iOS versions of many of the Star Traders games are also on sale. You can also check out at Sins Arcade or Random Acts of Chaos. You can check the Sins Arcade Facebook page for more information. I mean, the information is there. Bottom line is you can play the other games in this. In those games, you're playing the more minute details. You are playing during those the weekly time frames that I'll show you here in this game. And that's where the nitty-gritty stuff, the politics, the conflicts, ship-on-ship conflicts, fleet-on-fleet conflicts, the negative politics and assassinations, the sabotages between factions and ideologies, syndicates and clans. It all goes part and parcel, and it's all part of a macular, big, giant, Dune-like, mixed in with aliens and a Warhammer 40k inspiration, and it's a great mythos universe, and this is a great way to play it from a more macular aspect. Okay, so going back to this, I know I went on a tangent, and this video is going to be about an hour, but I wanted a good primer so that you had a good idea. Mines produce a constant revenue, and their profits are resistant to the effects of conflicts and negative politics. I would suggest starting to build 3 or 4 mines on all of your core systems. He said 3 or 4. The good magic number here is probably going to be 4. We'll get to that. Other higher priority projects may interrupt your construction of mines, but continue to work on them until your colonies have a solid base. Each time you install a new upgrade, be sure to check the profit and maintenance for the colony so that you can see and glean your growth as it continues to go. And again, down here you have your colony economy profit. That's what I was trying to explain earlier. And then that's after the maintenance has been deducted. So this is, you have a maintenance value of -12. So then this is your colony economy profit. You're adding plus 100 to the the surplus, the treasury. And you can fluctuate this number and fluctuate this number as well. If you're not constructing something, all of this goes into this. It becomes this potential energy, right? Potential energy of profitability or construction or production. If there's no production, now you have ways for people who are going to be buying stuff because they're in commerce. They don't have to work. They're not in the middle of a project. They're going out and buying stuff in the economy. Kedar Prime installed a Hab Unit 1. So now we're going to build a mine. And we're going to, in this case, we're not going to build a mine. We're going to back out. And before we build anything for a new order, by leaving this blank, it'll actually free up some more profit back into our treasury. So right now I'm going to leave this one blank. If you look, again, it doesn't have an active project going on at all. I'm going to belie that this turn, and we're going to actually get our third colony up and running. Restfallen is the system. So now we have the final syndicate, which is the DeValto syndicate. We've only gone 1 year and 5 weeks, pardon me, after the event, or after the founding, or finding this area, this galactic cluster or galaxy. I'm gonna take it to galaxy. That's the way I kind of look at it. We found a new galaxy or new portion of the galaxy to establish ourselves in, and that's where we're at. Might even be a hive, or a cluster of galaxies. So colony hive established on a new colony on DeValto's Prime. So now we have that going. We're gonna, if you notice, we jumped from the 600 something we had to 723. We're gonna pull this up and we're gonna build a hab unit. All right. So we're looking at 45 minutes now. We just crossed the 45-minute threshold. I'm going to complete this out and explain it to you as I go through for the last 15 minutes or so. And notice that this game again takes some minutia. We'll go through and explain all of this really quickly, and then that's how we're going to probably end the last of the end portion of this primer video, so you have a good feeling for it. Now, really quick, so I can go here. We've got all three going. Let's go back here, since now Syndicate Reichart, or sorry, DeValto Syndicate, DeValto's Prime, currently has a hab unit working on it. We're going to go back to Kadar Prime, who was our first of the families settled. They currently have 5 out of 3 spice. Quality of 25 total units we can do. We've already built 2. We have 1 hab unit and the spy and this spaceport, right? 4 defenses. We have 4 slots we can build defenses in. Our mining, this option, I want to show you something really fast too. As I mentioned before, you can slide between them this way. You can go up here if you want and rename them. So you did want to do a kind of recreation and have House Atreides and House Harkonnen and etc. from Dune. You could do that too if you wanted. But here's the other thing that I wanted to point to you. Say you kind of get stuck and you're like, I don't know what I have to build next. If you go back out and you go here to the colony screen that I mentioned, which was shortcut D if I remember correctly. Let me go back out. Yeah, D. All of our colonies, you can auto go to by clicking here. It'll automatically go directly to this that system, the Kadar Prime system. Have population of 304. This gives you kind of an overview, really quick, good overview. Current income right now is 57. Maintenance of 20. So out of that 57, you're paying 20 out. Okay. 2 of 3 factory slots have been used up. 2 of the total 25 quality slots have been used up. They're fully, happy that they finally found a new home, and we're almost at population, mass already. So what you want to do, the first thing is, notice down here it says build hab units. Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on here. Click on the system, and then if you notice over here, there's these little things that are like hyperlinks, essentially. It's the best way I can kind of describe. So we know we're at 3 of 4 on it. I know it said, you remember it said that we should probably build a mine. Let's not build a mine just yet, because you don't want to be this close, and very early on in the game you get a lot of refugees, so you usually get population spikes. You want to try to be ahead of the curve on that as much as possible. But let's just say I'm going to do the population. By clicking on that, that gives me all options that I have that deal specifically with population itself. Let me go back. Say that I was looking at minerals because I wanted to build a mine, but I wasn't entirely sure what options would work there. So I click on here, and it tells me I can build a mine based off of the options that I have. Approximate turns, and it goes back to the same thing we mentioned before. So in this case, we are going to build a hab unit. I'm going to use this way just to get to it. If you click on it as well, if you buy it, it only comes out with the build for the 10 construction points and then the 100 credits, which would drop us down to 423 credits here, and then use that or start the march towards that 10 construction points. It obviously also has a maintenance value of those turns, each turn, as soon as I start it, of $10 per turn. So it's 100 up front and then 10 turns, whereas if I do a subsidize, it buys essentially 3 turns ahead of time as an investment to help get it processed faster. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back here. We're gonna do it here the same way. Okay, so now we have that. We're looking at a profitability of 116, and we have a current treasury of 323 credits with a maintenance of 84. Okay, so that means that if we were to take this 116 plus the 84, we would come up with the value that would be less the treasury, and that would be how much we're gaining per turn, but we're paying out 84 towards maintenance and have a current profitability here. This current tells us a current date. We have a current total of 8 research points that we're not actively using towards anything. Hold on just a moment.
Research in progress. Research in progress. forces.